Sometimes the world is trying to tell you who you are, but you may be too busy to notice. In a fast-paced life where everything is pushing you forward, faster, better, more successful, you may have forgotten how to stop and listen to yourself. Or worse, you may no longer hear the call of life. The world is always whispering to you through everyday experiences. A quiet moment when the sunlight filters through the leaves, a deep conversation with a stranger, or the unexpected warmth when you help someone for no reason at all. These things don't happen by accident. They are life's gentle reminders that you are on the right path, or that you need to adjust your path. But if you don't stop, if you don't allow yourself to sit quietly, slow down your breathing, and look deep within, you won't be able to hear those messages. Listening is not a passive act. It is a choice. It is a temporary pause from the noise of social media, work pressure, expectations from others, to be able to face yourself. Who you are is not what others define for you. It is what you feel, what you discover, through awareness in every moment of life. Maybe you are someone who always feels at peace when you are close to nature, or someone whose heart flutters when listening to a sad song, or someone who finds meaning in helping others overcome pain. All of these are pieces of the puzzle that make up who you are. Let the world lead you, but not by running after it, but by listening to it. Only when you stop will you see clearly where you stand. Only when you listen will you know who you really are. There are things in the past that should be kept like gems buried deep in the ground, not because they are shameful but because they are sacred. Your past is a story that only you know best. Every pain, every stumble, every fleeting joy, all of it makes you who you are today. But others, no matter how much they hear, only see a small part, distorted through their own lens. You may have opened up to someone about your story, hoping to be understood, to share. But then you may realize they don't understand. Or worse, they use it to judge you, hurt you, or turn it into a topic of gossip when you are not around. That is one of the expensive lessons that each of us will experience at least once in our lives. Not everyone is deep enough to understand the journey you have gone through. Not everyone has a big heart to not judge when you open up. And not everyone is worth your trust in giving away important memories. Keeping your past to yourself does not mean you live a closed or secretive life. It is how you protect your own values. What you have experienced, whether painful or glorious, has a reason to exist. What matters is that you understand it, what you learn from it, not what others think about it. Be selective with whom you share. There are souls that are delicate enough to listen without needing an explanation. But most are not. And silence, sometimes, is the best armor for your memories. You do not owe anyone an explanation for who you used to be. Let the past be a solid foundation, not a shackle forcing you to prove anything. Keep to yourself what needs to be kept. Because that is strength. There are moments in life when you have a choice, to continue clinging to the familiar, or to let go and step into the unknown. Most of us choose to stay, not because it is best but because it is safe. The shore is a place where we feel protected, in control. But you know, every new horizon is just beyond the reach of safety. You can't explore an ocean if you are afraid of the waves. You can't grow if you stay in your comfort zone. And you certainly can't live a meaningful life if you spend every day stuck in what you already know. What holds you back is not a lack of ability but a lack of courage. The courage to face uncertainty. The courage to believe in yourself when no one else does. And the courage to turn away from the shore, where everything is predictable but also full of limits. Maybe the shore is a job you're no longer passionate about, a relationship that's making you tired, or even an old version of yourself. The one who's always afraid of making mistakes, afraid of being judged. To reach the new horizon, you have to be willing to be disoriented for a while. You have to be willing to swim in unfamiliar waters where you're not sure what's waiting. But it's in that journey that you'll find yourself stronger than ever. The world doesn't reward those who just stand still and dream. The world belongs to those who dare to act. Even if it's shaky, even if it's imperfect. Don't wait until you're ready. You'll never be truly ready for a big journey. But if your heart yearns for something more than what you have, that's a sign. Take your eyes off the shore. Start swimming. Because only then will you see all that life truly has to offer. If there is one thing that silently controls the way we think, feel, react, and choose every day, it is the ego. It is not loud, but it is always present. It makes you feel right, others feel wrong. It makes it difficult to apologize, difficult to forgive, and especially difficult to let go. The ego is the invisible wall between you and peace. It makes you always have to prove yourself better than others. It demands recognition, makes you live not to be yourself, but to fit the standards others draw. Every time you feel offended by an unintentional word, that is the ego. Every time you feel jealous, self-conscious, competitive, the ego wins another point in that silent war. But the scariest thing is not that you have an ego, but that you do not realize it is controlling you. If you really want to be free, not only in your actions but also in your mind, learn to observe your ego and remove it little by little. It is not easy. Because the ego always wears a disguise. Sometimes it is called self-esteem, sometimes righteousness, sometimes I am just protecting myself. But the deeper you look, the clearer it becomes. Most of your suffering does not come from the situation but from your reaction to it. Removing your ego does not make you weak or cowardly. On the contrary, it is the highest expression of maturity. A person who dares to admit that he does not know everything, dares to say, I am wrong, dares to be silent when necessary, that is a person who is living with an open heart, not bound by the need to control or prove. Try living a day without putting yourself at the center. Really listen to others instead of just waiting for your turn to speak. Do a good deed without expecting recognition. Look at an opposing opinion without immediately reacting. You will be surprised. The world becomes strangely light. If you can remove anything from your world, remove your ego. Because when your ego is small, your heart will be big enough to embrace the whole world. We often think that being rich is owning a lot of money, houses, luxury cars or luxury items. But then there comes a time, amidst the material chaos, you still feel empty. That is when you realize, the feeling of true life does not come from what you own, but from what you experience. What makes the deepest wealth is not the balance in your account, but the number of moments that make your heart flutter. It could be an early morning climb to the top of a mountain, when the sun has just risen. It is the time you bravely do something new even though your hands are still shaking. It is a tight hug from a friend after many years apart. No one can buy those things, you can only live and feel them. Material things can make you comfortable, but experiences are what change you. When you travel to a faraway place, eat a dish you've never tried before, talk to someone from a different culture, you're not just having fun, you're expanding your inner world. Every experience is a new slice of life, helping you understand yourself, others, and what it really means to be alive. On the other hand, if you only pursue material things, you'll fall into a vicious cycle. You buy something, feel happy for a while, then want something else. The feeling of emptiness keeps coming back, as if you're trying to fill the void with something that's never enough. True wealth is when you have memories to tell, lessons to learn, and an open mind to accept new things. When you can sit back and smile when you remember a journey, a failure, or a crazy moment when you lived your life to the fullest. You don't need a lot of money to be rich. You just need to have the courage to step out of your comfort zone, seek out the unknown, dare to try, dare to make mistakes and dare to feel. Material things will eventually become old. Experiences will not. They live forever in your memories, in the way you see the world, and in the person you are becoming. Life is fragile. Everything you have today, your health, your loved ones, your job, even your peace of mind, can change in an instant. No one knows what tomorrow will bring. Therefore, the most precious thing you have is not what you have in your hands, but how you cherish and use it right now. Many people live as if time is endless, as if they can postpone loving, delaying dreaming, delaying kindness until a more suitable day. But in fact, there is no more suitable day. There is only now. Now is when you are still breathing. Now is when you have the opportunity to make a difference, no matter how small. You don't have to change the world. But you can change someone's moment with an act of kindness. A greeting, a smile, a sincere hug, or simply a loving presence is enough to make today meaningful. Instead of passively accepting what you have, an imperfect job, an incomplete family, a messy life, look at them with a grateful heart. Be grateful that you still have the opportunity to fix things, to try, to love, to live. And when you start from a place of gratitude, you will no longer see the present as not enough, but see them as opportunities to do something better. Don't wait until an event happens to realize the value of the present. Life is always changing, but it doesn't always give you the chance to go back. Live as if each day is a gift, because it is. You can't control everything that happens, but you can control how you live with what you have. And that is what shapes your life. Gratitude is not passive acceptance, but proactively creating good from what is present. In a world that is constantly changing, where what is true today may be obsolete tomorrow, keeping an open mind is the most precious gift you can give yourself. But being open is not enough. You need to act like an artist, passionate, intuitive and creative. At the same time, think, fail and learn like a scientist, objective, logical and constantly evolving. Artists are not afraid of ambiguity. They dare to start from a blank page, not knowing what will come next. They act with feeling, pursuing beauty and truth. You should live like that too. Dare to start without all the answers, dare to do what excites you even if others don't understand, and dare to follow your own path, even if it's uncharted territory. But don't stop at inspiration. Because artists without principles are prone to chaos. This is when you need to think like a scientist. Every failure is not the end, but a failed experiment, something that will bring you closer to what is right. Scientists do not see mistakes as personal failures. They see them as data. And you? You can learn to see sadness as a lesson. See rejection as an opportunity to improve. See every stumble as raw material for growth. Combine both, the heart of an artist and the head of a scientist, and you will live a full life, both emotional and profound, both soaring and practical. You will dare to dream but also know how to realize that dream. You will not be afraid of making mistakes because you understand, every mistake is a necessary step on the right journey. Today's world does not need perfect people. It needs people who dare to try, dare to fail, and dare to change. People who are soft enough to feel, but strong enough not to collapse when things do not go as expected. So live like an artist painting your life, but learn like a scientist discovering yourself through each stroke. That's how you create something truly different, not just in the world but within yourself. Getting back with your ex is like taking a shower and then putting on dirty underwear. It sounds a bit shocking, a bit crude, but it's actually surprisingly true. Imagine after a long, tiring day full of dirt and sweat, you take a shower, put on some nice perfume, then come back and put on the same underwear you just took off, still damp, still smelling of sweat and things you shouldn't mention. How does that feel? Unpleasant, right? Getting back with your ex is exactly the same. There's a reason why that relationship ended. It could have been incompatibility, disrespect, betrayal, or simply a lack of feelings. Whatever the reason, once two people choose to let go, it's not an impulsive decision. It's the result of hundreds of conversations, thousands of self-questionings, and countless sleepless nights. But after all, you think about going back as if forgetting all the pain you've gone through? Some people say, the ex is the one who understands you best. But understanding does not mean being suitable. Understanding is sometimes just a weapon that makes you soft-hearted. And soft-heartedness is the most dangerous trap. You go back because you regret the past, because you're afraid of loneliness, because of beautiful memories, but you forget that these people also made you cry, hurt you. We cannot move on if we keep holding on to what's broken. Love is like a shirt. If it's torn too much, patched over and over, then at some point you have to replace it with a new one. Not because you forgot the old shirt, but because you deserve a better, cleaner, more fitting one. Don't go back to someone who is no longer worthy because of a few moments of weakness. Remember, when you get out of the shower, you deserve clean, fresh-smelling underwear that makes you feel comfortable and confident. And the same goes for love. You deserve someone who makes you happy, not someone who made you miserable. Love yourself enough to not go back to someone who made you lose yourself. Don't make a promise if you don't really intend to keep it. There are promises that are just fleeting to you, but are the only ray of hope for others. Sometimes a simple sentence like, "I'll be with you," or "I'll come back," can be the only thing that holds someone back from the abyss of loneliness and despair. But if you can't do it, or worse, you never intend to do it, it's nothing more than a push to push them deeper. We often think, just saying it for fun, who cares? But you forget that each person receives words differently. To you it's a harmless sentence. But to the person who is waiting, who is hoping, it's a promise worth its weight in gold. It can be what helps them try every day, the reason why they believe in others once again. A promise is not a game. It is a commitment, a belief. And once trust is lost, it is very difficult to regain. Making promises and not keeping them is like pouring water into a cracked glass. No matter how hard you try, in the end there will be nothing left. People will remember that you did not keep your word, that you disappointed them. And trust, once broken, love will also be cracked. If you are not sure, do not promise. Sometimes silence is more precious than insincere words. Being honest that "I don't know, I don't promise anything," sounds cold but is the kindest thing you can do. Because it is respect for the feelings of others and for yourself. This world has enough people who break promises, enough people who say one thing and do another. If you want to be different, let your words carry weight. Let others feel safe when trusting you. Because sometimes, one true word is stronger than 1,000 empty words of love. Promise little but keep it. Because who knows, what seems small to you might mean the world to someone.